It was a cold, quiet evening in a residential neighborhood. The sky was clear, and the stars twinkled above, seemingly unaware of the calamity that was about to unfold. In one of the homes, a family of 4, the Harrisons, were finishing dinner. The father, James, had just returned from work, and the kids, Emily and Ben, were playing in the living room. Suddenly, an unbearable smell of smoke filled the air. At first, it was subtle, a faint burning odor, but it quickly grew stronger. Within moments, the house was engulfed in flames. Panic spread faster than the fire itself. James tried to call 911, but the phone slipped from his hands as the smoke thickened, the flames advancing on them with terrifying speed. The family's only hope was to escape, but the front door was already blocked by a wall of fire. The windows offered no escape either, as the heat was too intense. The fire was closing in, and they were trapped. It seemed as if all hope was lost when, out of nowhere, a figure appeared, someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Elon Musk, the famous entrepreneur and founder of Tesla, was driving by on his way home from an event when he noticed the flames. Elon Musk wasn't a firefighter, but in that moment, his instincts kicked in. He slammed on the brakes of his Tesla, the car screeching to a halt by the side of the road. Without hesitation, he jumped out of the vehicle and ran toward the house, ignoring the heat from the fire and the thick smoke that billowed into the air. His mind raced as he scanned the scene, quickly calculating the best way to save the family inside. The windows were too high for him to reach, and the front door was completely blocked by flames. But then, he noticed a small side window, just big enough for a person to squeeze through. Elon didn't waste time. He found a nearby garden hose and used it to douse some of the fire around the window, making it safe enough to approach. With no time to lose, he climbed up and broke the glass with his bare hands, cutting his knuckles in the process. Inside, the Harrisons were huddled together in the living room, coughing and gasping for air. The smoke was suffocating, and they were slowly losing consciousness. But just as their hope was fading, Elon's face appeared in the window. "Stay calm." Elon shouted through the broken window, his voice cutting through the chaos. "I'm going to get you out of here." The Harrisons barely had the strength to respond, but their eyes filled with a glimmer of hope. James, the father, barely managed to crawl to the window, but the smoke made it hard to think clearly. Elon reached inside, grabbing James by the arm and pulling him toward the window. The heat was unbearable, and the smoke was thick, but Elon's strength and resolve were unmatched. With James safely out, he shouted for his wife, Sarah, and the kids. Elon reached back inside, pulling Emily and Ben one by one through the window, guiding them to safety. Sarah was the last to be pulled out. Her eyes were wide with fear and gratitude as Elon helped her climb through the broken window. As the last of the family was safely out, the roof of the house began to collapse. The fire was spreading faster now, and Elon knew they had no time to waste. He grabbed the family and ushered them toward his car. Once the Harrisons were safely in Elon's Tesla, he drove them away from the burning building, his heart pounding in his chest. He didn't speak much on the drive, but the family was silent too stunned to speak. As they made their way to a safe distance, the fire trucks arrived, and the firemen rushed to put out the flames. But it was Elon Musk who had saved their lives. Without him, the Harrisons would not have made it out of that burning house. When the fire was finally under control, the Harrison family sat together on the curb, still in shock, but alive. Sarah, the mother, looked at Elon with tears in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "You saved us." Elon, always humble, simply nodded, offering a quiet smile. "I was just in the right place at the right time," he said. But the Harrisons knew that was not true. Elon Musk had acted as a hero, not out of duty, but out of pure human instinct. He had put himself in danger to save them, and in doing so, had changed their lives forever. In the days that followed, the Harrisons were overwhelmed with gratitude. Elon's heroism made headlines around the world, but he remained low-key about the whole ordeal. He didn't want fame or accolades, he had simply done what he felt was right. The Harrisons, however, could not forget what he had done for them. They reached out to him, not just to thank him, but to ask how they could repay him. Elon, in his characteristic way, refused. "You've got your family, and that's all that matters," he told them. For the Harrisons, life slowly returned to normal. They rebuilt their home, and their lives were forever altered by the kindness of a stranger. Elon Musk had not just saved them from a burning building, he had given them a second chance at life. And though they would never be able to repay him, they would carry his heroism with them always. The news of Elon Musk's heroic act spread like wildfire. Headlines across the globe proclaimed, "Elon Musk saves family from burning building in daring rescue." Social media exploded with praise for the billionaire entrepreneur, with people sharing their admiration and awe. While many were impressed, it was clear that the rescue had touched a deeper chord. People were not just reacting to the fame of a celebrity saving lives, but to the profound humanity of the act. For the Harrisons, the attention was overwhelming. They were thrust into the spotlight, their personal tragedy now a global story. Interviews, phone calls, and messages flooded in from news outlets and well-wishers. The family was grateful for the support but also struggled to process the whirlwind. Their quiet, suburban life had been completely upended. Yet, amidst the chaos, one thing remained clear: they owed everything to the man who had come out of nowhere to save them. Elon, however, was uncomfortable with the media frenzy. He had never sought the spotlight in the same way other celebrities did. For him, the rescue had been a simple matter of doing what was right, not seeking recognition. He felt uneasy with the constant attention, and rather than basking in the glow of his newfound fame, he chose to lay low. His focus shifted back to his work, SpaceX, Tesla, and his mission to change the world. In the weeks following the fire, the Harrisons continued to rebuild their lives. With Elon's help, they found a temporary home to stay in while their own house was repaired. Despite their loss, they felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude, and it was not just for the material things they had lost. Their lives had been spared, thanks to Elon Musk. The family began to feel a deep, unspoken bond with the man who had saved them. The children, especially Emily and Ben, would often ask about him, wondering if they would ever see him again. One afternoon, James, the father, decided to reach out to Elon directly. He sent a simple message, thanking him again for his bravery and telling him how much it had meant to them. To his surprise, Elon responded almost immediately. They exchanged a few texts, and Elon agreed to meet with the family once more. The Harrisons were nervous but excited. They had so many questions, so many things they wanted to say to the man who had changed their lives forever. When they met, it was in a quiet, private setting. Elon, ever humble, didn't make a big show of it. He sat down with them like an old friend, chatting casually about life, the fire, and how they were doing. The Harrisons were struck by how normal he seemed. Despite his fame, his wealth, and his success, Elon Musk was just a man who had made a difference when it mattered most. As the months passed, the Harrisons resumed their normal routines. Their house was rebuilt, and they settled back into their lives. But they would never forget the moment when their world had nearly burned to the ground, and how a stranger had risked everything to save them. Elon Musk's actions that night had not just saved their lives physically, they had given them a new sense of perspective on what truly mattered. The family became advocates for fire safety, speaking at local schools and community centers about the importance of preparedness. But they also began to speak about the importance of human connection and helping others in times of crisis. They had been blessed by a hero when they needed it most, and they wanted others to understand the power of a single act of kindness. Elon, too, was changed by the event. While he continued to focus on his groundbreaking work in technology and space exploration, the rescue had reminded him of the importance of the human side of life. It was not about the rockets or the cars, it was about the people. And sometimes, it was the small, personal moments of heroism that truly made a difference in the world. One day, James and Sarah received a letter from Elon, one they would cherish forever. It wasn't a typical thank you note. Instead, it was a message about the future, about hope and possibility. Elon wrote about his vision for humanity, the importance of innovation, and the role of kindness in building a better world. He ended the letter with a simple line, "We can all be heroes in our own way." Don't forget that. Years passed, and the story of the fire faded from the headlines. But for the Harrisons, it was something they would never forget. The rescue had become part of their family's history, a story they would share with future generations. Emily and Ben grew up, and they often spoke of the night when their father had been pulled from the fire by a stranger, and how that stranger had saved them all. James and Sarah continued to live their lives with a deep sense of gratitude, always remembering that moment of crisis and the man who had come to their rescue. They would never be able to repay Elon for what he had done, but they had learned a valuable lesson. In the face of adversity, there is always hope, and sometimes, a hero appears when you least expect it. Elon Musk, for his part, continued his journey to Mars, to the stars, and beyond. But in the quiet moments of his life, he would think back to that night, the night he had saved a family from the flames. It wasn't the rockets or the Teslas that defined him, but the simple act of heroism that had changed the lives of the Harrisons forever. And so, in the end, the story of Elon Musk's rescue of the Harrison family became a legacy, not just of technology and space exploration, but of the timeless truth that sometimes, the greatest impact we can have on the world is through our actions, our compassion, and our willingness to help others when they need it the most.